Hello viewers. As you can obviously tell by the title of this plot, I will be ranking every film in the Disney Renaissance, a time that put Disney back at the top of their game during the 1990s. Just a little rundown for some who don't know the Disney Renaissance, which won't be very many people. The movies in this year are The Little Mermaid, 1989, The Rescuers Down Under, 1990, Beauty and the Beast, 1991, Aladdin, 1992, The Lion King, 1994, Pocahontas, 1995, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1996, Hercules, 1997, Mulan, 1998, and Tarzan, 1999. And this will only be my personal opinion. My list won't be factual. And if you either like or don't like some of the movies I'm talking about, I respect your opinion and please respect mine too. Number 10. Pocahontas, 1995. Now this may be at the bottom of the list, but I certainly don't hate Pocahontas. I think it is a decent Disney movie with some beautiful animation, good songs, and the message it tells is pretty straightforward. But it does have some obvious flaws. For instance, the biggest problem with the movie is that it is so historically inaccurate. This was kind of expected though, because another film in the Renaissance, Hercules, has a similar problem, which I will get to later. Plus, the tone is very unfocused and I don't particularly get amused by some of the side characters like Flit, Miko or Percy. They're not hateable, but I feel like they're just there for some cheap laughs. It doesn't help that the running time of just 81 minutes makes the film rather rushed, and some characters are underdeveloped. Pocahontas would still be a movie I'd watch quite a lot, but it's definitely the weakest Disney Renaissance movie. Number 9. The Rescuers Down Under, 1990. This movie was the least financially successful movie in the Disney Renaissance, by quite some margin, earning just $47.4 million worldwide. It was also the only film in the Disney Renaissance to not earn an Oscar nomination, while all of the other movies, even Pocahontas, got some. Heck, 5 of those movies in the Renaissance won 2 Oscars. But anyway, back to the opinions. The Rescuers Down Under has been considered one of the most underrated Disney movies ever. Would I say it is a masterpiece? No. But would I consider it underrated? Well, maybe not quite that, because the story feels second-rate and some of the side characters are a little annoying. But I do think it deserved more attention than it first got when released back in 1990. Sure, it's not brilliant, and again, the runtime is rather short, making the plot rushed, but it has great animation and I like the villain, McLeach. Thankfully it has gotten a cult following over the years. Number 8. Hercules, 1997. Personally, I think this has the best voice acting of any movie in the Disney Renaissance. You've got Tate Donovan, Rip Torn, Danny DeVito, Susan Egan, James Woods and more. I absolutely love James Woods' portrayal of Hades, and I'd consider him my favorite Disney villain. But the reason why this movie is low on the list is because its biggest problem is that not only is the story rather predictable, but it is also mythologically inaccurate. However, I won't pick on it so much, because this is to be expected from Disney, who usually turn classic tales into fun family films for everyone. But that's not the only issue. While the animation is creative, and the style of the effects and the gods are really well done, they're also put onto the humans, and they don't suit them at all, which really hurts the character design, and doesn't make them as nice to look at as some other Disney characters. Plus, the main protagonist's goal is a bit generic, and the love story between Hercules and Meg is so cliché. I still got a good laugh out of it though. The music was excellent, and one of the songs, Go the Distance, is probably one of my favorite Disney songs, and the end credits version by Michael Bolton is just timeless. Hercules is a very enjoyable film despite quite a few flaws. Number 7. Tarzan, 1999. I did like Tarzan, and I think along with The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Mulan, it has some of the best animation of any movie in the Renaissance. It's also got a nice soundtrack by Phil Collins, with songs he sung such as Two Worlds, You'll Be in My Heart, Son of Man, and Strangers Like Me. What is not good about this movie, in my opinion, to be honest, I'm not a fan of the humor in this movie. Plus, I find Clayton a rather uninteresting villain. In fact, I find some of the side characters slightly annoying or just there for humor. However, there were a few sad or powerful moments in the movie, and the action scenes were pretty engaging. Tarzan has a great soundtrack, top-notch animation, and a well-structured story. Number 6. The Little Mermaid, 1989. Now, I hate to put this not very high on the list, because I love this movie so much. It is the main reason the Disney Renaissance exists, due to bringing back the financial and critical success that Disney had originally gotten throughout the ages. It really needed to be that as well, considering that movies like the Care Bears movie, An American Tale in the Land Before Time, all not made by Disney, were beating out some Disney movies from the mid-1980s like The Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company in box office earnings. What I loved about The Little Mermaid is that the music is absolutely gorgeous. The animation is also well crafted. Even for its age, it was actually the last Disney animated feature to use hand-painted cell animation. The characters are memorable, the voice acting is incredible, and the story is also engaging. However, while I really like Ariel as a character, she can be rather needy and spoiled. Plus, King Triton is rather overprotective. And while, yes, the animation is really good, the computer animation used in this movie looks very dated. And I did spot a tiny bit of coloring problems with the character animation during the song, Under the Sea. An example would be at the end of the song, where all of the fishes would point to where Ariel would have stayed at the end of the song. You'll notice that one of the fish in the top half of the screen has their lips changing 2 different colors every few half seconds. Also, one of the fishes in the bottom half has their tail changing 2 different colors every few half seconds. And there are a few times when some characters would speak, and their mouths would not move. But with those flaws, I still love The Little Mermaid. It is what started this excellent 10-year era for Disney. Number 5. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1996. This, no doubt, is Disney's darkest animated movie they've ever done. But it turned out to be really great. The story, while adapted from a novel called Notre Dame de Paris by Victor Hugo, it has almost zero connection with the novel it is based. But the way the story was executed actually made up for it. Yet it still was nominated for a Razzie Award for Worst Writing in a film that grossed over $100 million. Like, why would they even put this movie on just the nominations list? Norm of the North didn't even get a Razzie nomination. And yes, that movie was utter garbage. But there was still another flaw about this movie. I found the gargoyles very annoying. Which is quite a shame because the other characters are actually really memorable. And seriously, Judge Plotagon is not only one of my favorite Disney villains, but his death is my personal most satisfying Disney villain death. I was screaming at the TV like, yes, you're going down where you belong. Also, the movie has a very strong message, masterclass animation, and one of my all-time favorite Disney soundtracks. It's just too bad that the gargoyles and the lack of connection with the actual novel it was based on. Yes, this is to be expected, but Disney do that too much. But yeah, those 2 things kind of contribute to why I only put this in the middle of the list. But it is definitely one of Disney's most underrated movies, and deserves the amazing attention it gets today. Number 4. Aladdin, 1992. Now this was one awesome Disney movie. It used the classic Disney formula in such an amazing way, thus making it a brilliant time for everyone. I loved Robin Williams' performance of Genie in the movie, and I consider him one of my favorite Disney characters. The story is helped with that classic Disney formula, helped with, despite some over-the-top animation, which I don't dig in some movies, and some dated CGI, still some very creative visuals and animation. The characters are lovable, the songs are a treasure, and the action scenes are gripping. I really would like to put this higher on this list, if it just had slightly more settled animation. I know, it is for the comedic tone, but sometimes it makes some scenes a tiny bit hard to follow. But this is still a movie to treasure for all eternity. Number 3. The Lion King, 1994. Amazingly written and developed storyline, beautiful animation, epic action and moments, awesome songs and some great characters. The Lion King is an absolute joy. I mean, no wonder why it is one of the most popular animated movies of all time. In fact, it's the highest grossing hand-drawn animated film, with nearly over $1 billion. Although that does include some rare releases that were released years after the original theatrical run, which even that was very impressive. Scar is one of the best Disney villains. The voice acting is just amazing. If there's only one slight niggle, personally, while I do like Timon and Pumbaa, I find them rather annoying at some times. The hula dance they did made me cringe a little. But like I said, it is only a niggle. Nothing major. This movie is a masterpiece. But I just have to say one more thing. The live-action remake coming next year had better be good. Number 2. Mulan, 1998. Just, wow. The action in this movie was just extraordinary. I absolutely adore this Disney movie, and I personally think it has the best action of any movie in the Renaissance. It retells the epic tale of a woman called Mulan, who takes her father's place in the war by stealing his armor and disguising as a man, which really hit me at the edge of my seat often. The animation was superb, the characters were a lot of fun. I especially loved Mushu, and Eddie Murphy's performance as him was great. While the songs are definitely great, I wouldn't consider them the best Disney songs, as some don't have much emotional depth. Reflection is an exception for that matter though. But either way they are still memorable and have a message. But, I don't find Shaggy a great villain compared to other Disney villains. But this was still a timeless classic that was a noble part of the Disney Renaissance. And, as most of you would have guessed by now, my personal favorite Disney Renaissance movie is Beauty and the Beast, 1991. This movie is so amazing, it could even be considered flawless. Beauty and the Beast is not only one of the greatest animated features of all time, but it also became the first ever animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. That's how good this thing is. Beauty and the Beast ticks all of the boxes that need to be ticked in order to make a great film. Beautifully told storyline, great writing, memorable characters, superb animation, great voice acting, timeless songs, the list goes on. I personally couldn't find a single flaw in this movie. If you're talking about the live-action remake though, then, yeah. Don't even try to think that that's better than the original 1991 animated feature. Sure, it's not bad in my opinion, but it is nowhere near as memorable. But seriously, if you haven't watched this movie, which many of you watching likely have done, go watch this now. Beauty and the Beast is a memorable and timeless movie. In fact, you should watch all of these movies on the list. They're all at the very least pretty good, and the ones on top are just amazing. But you know what really makes me disappointed? It's that many of today's Disney movies don't have the magic or nostalgia or timeless tunes of the past Disney films. Sure, there are still some amazing Disney movies out there like Zootopia, Mona, Wreck-It Ralph, Can't Wait for the sequel, and more. But the old Disney movies nowadays can really give you goosebumps on how nostalgic they are, especially if you went to watch at least one of those at the cinema when you were young. Disney still makes some strong animated movies today though, and I hope they continue to do so throughout the years. So yeah, that'll wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the heart button below the video, and if you are new and you enjoy my content, consider hitting the follow button on my profile and leave a comment down below. Also guys, comment down your personal list of the Disney Renaissance movies if you've seen them all. For those who haven't seen all of them, I recommend you see all these brilliant movies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next plot.